Picture this. It's 3 p.m., you've got 3 cups of coffee in your system, and you're staring at your to-do list like it's written in ancient hieroglyphics. You fire up your Pomodoro timer for the 100th time this month, and 5 minutes in, you're already scrolling through your phone. Sound familiar? Well, grab another coffee because I'm about to tell you why the Pomodoro technique is as outdated as flip phones, and share a stupidly simple 10-minute hack that actually works. Now, don't get me wrong, the Pomodoro technique isn't terrible. It's like that reliable but boring friend who always shows up on time but never has anything interesting to say. Sure, it works for some people, but for the rest of us living in 2025, it feels about as exciting as watching paint dry in slow motion. Here's the thing about Pomodoro. It was invented in the 1980s by a guy named Francesco Cirillo, who used a tomato-shaped kitchen timer. And while I respect the tomato hustle, let's be real, our brains in 2025 are nothing like brains from the 80s. Back then, the biggest distraction was maybe your neighbor's loud music. Now, we've got notifications coming at us like we're playing the world's most stressful game of digital dodgeball. So what's wrong with the classic 25-minute work, 5-minute break formula? First off, it's too rigid. Your brain doesn't operate on a timer schedule. Some days you're laser focused and could work for hours. Other days you can barely focus for 5 minutes without your mind wandering to what you're having for dinner. The Pomodoro technique treats every task like it's the same difficulty level, which is like wearing the same outfit whether you're going to a job interview or the gym. Second problem? Those 5-minute breaks are basically useless. What can you actually accomplish in 5 minutes? Check your phone, realize you've somehow spent 15 minutes looking at videos of cats wearing tiny hats, and boom, your entire flow is destroyed. It's like trying to quench your thirst with an eyedropper. But here's where it gets interesting. I accidentally discovered something that changed everything. I call it the 10-minute power sprint, and it's so simple you'll probably think I'm joking. But stick with me here because this tiny change will make you more productive than a caffeinated squirrel in a nut factory. Here's how it works. Instead of the traditional 25-minute work session, you work for exactly 10 minutes. That's it. But here's the catch. During those 10 minutes, you go absolutely all out. No phone, no distractions, no just checking one quick email. You become a productivity machine for exactly 10 minutes. Why 10 minutes? Because it's short enough that your brain doesn't panic and start making excuses. When you tell yourself, I only need to focus for 10 minutes, suddenly it doesn't feel impossible. It's like the difference between running a marathon and sprinting to catch a bus. Your brain actually gets excited about the challenge instead of dreading it. Think about it this way. When you're at a red light, those 30 seconds feel like forever. But when you're watching a funny video on your phone, 10 minutes disappears in the blink of an eye. We're just hacking that same time perception for productivity. After your 10-minute sprint, here's the magic part. You take a 10-minute break, but not just any break. This is what I call a reset break. And you can do whatever you want. Check social media, grab a snack, stare out the window, and contemplate the meaning of life. The key is that you get a full mental reset. During this break, something incredible happens. Your brain starts processing what you just worked on in the background. It's like when you can't remember someone's name, then suddenly it pops into your head while you're brushing your teeth. Your subconscious keeps working even when you're not. Let me give you a real example. Last week, I was trying to write a report that I'd been putting off for days. With the old Pomodoro method, I'd start the 25-minute timer, write maybe 2 sentences, then spend the rest of the time stress scrolling through my emails. With the 10-minute sprint, I cranked out 3 paragraphs in the first sprint, had a guilt-free coffee break, then knocked out 3 more paragraphs in the second sprint. What used to take me an entire morning now took less than an hour. But here's what makes this even better. After a few cycles, you'll notice something weird happening. Sometimes you'll finish a 10-minute sprint and think, you know what? I'm actually on a roll here. let me keep going. And that's totally fine. The 10-minute rule isn't a prison sentence, it's a launching pad. It gets you started, which is usually the hardest part. Compare this to traditional Pomodoro, where you're mentally preparing for a 25-minute commitment. It's like the difference between jumping into a pool and slowly walking in. The 10-minute sprint is all about momentum. Once you start moving, it's easier to keep moving. I've tested this with everything from writing emails to organizing my closet. Yes, I used a productivity technique to clean my room, and no, I'm not ashamed of it. 10 minutes of focused organization got me further than hours of half-hearted cleaning while binge-watching Netflix. The beauty of this system is its flexibility. Having a rough day, just do one 10-minute sprint and call it a victory. Feeling energetic? Chain together multiple sprints with breaks in between. It adapts to your energy levels instead of forcing you into a rigid schedule. Plus, there's something psychologically satisfying about completing a full cycle in just 20 minutes. With traditional Pomodoro, you're looking at 30 minutes minimum, and by the time you finish, you've probably forgotten what you were originally trying to accomplish. Here's my challenge for you. Tomorrow, instead of setting up another Pomodoro timer that you'll probably abandon halfway through, try just one 10-minute power sprint. Pick the task you've been avoiding the most. You know, the one that's been sitting on your to-do list like an unwelcome dinner guest. Set a timer for 10 minutes and attack it with the intensity of someone trying to finish an exam before the teacher collects the papers. I guarantee you'll be surprised by what you accomplish. And if you're not convinced after one try, feel free to go back to your tomato timer. But something tells me once you experience the power of the 10-minute sprint, you'll never look at productivity the same way again. The Pomodoro Technique had its day, but that day was about 4 decades ago. It's time to embrace a method that actually works with our modern, distracted, overstimulated brains. 10 minutes at a time, people. That's how we conquer the chaos of modern productivity. So what are you waiting for? Your next 10-minute sprint starts now.